panels covered in green dollar signs and crosses, with bold black text in both Coast Salish and English that states, "Chief Seattle, now the streets are our home." The installation is dedicated to Seattle's Native American homeless people, of which there are a disproportionate number. Across Yesler Way from the park is the Chief Seattle Club, which provides food, day shelter, an arts program, and health care to Seattle's indigenous homeless adult population. I am scheduled to be there today as the faculty nurse preceptor for a group of university health science students providing basic foot care. As I walk toward the Chief Seattle Club, I pass through another small park, Fortson Square, which has a public art installation of concrete building ruins, including a fallen and fractured Corinthian column and bits of poetry in the bricks paving the ground. Glancing down, I notice that one of the bricks, partially covered in cedar chips, is inscribed with Skid Road. Other bricks, spaced apart and running downhill, read, "We are proud people and we survive." Even in the steady drizzle, this area is thronged with people dressed in stained, soggy clothing, sitting on the concrete ruins. A woman is wrapped in a bright red blanket. They all appear to be patiently or resignedly waiting for something. An older man with a bandaged lower leg, shuffling slowly with a walker, stops to ask me where the Lazarus Center is. I tell him it is just up ahead, next door to the Chief Seattle Club. In the foot clinic that day, we see a gray-haired man from a Coast Salish tribe who tells us he was a logger in Alaska for 6 years back in the 1980s. He describes the repeated injuries he sustained from the work, especially to his lower legs. He had surgery at Harborview Medical Center on one leg to repair a nasty fracture and had 2 pins put in the ankle. Harborview is the Level 1 trauma center for Washington, Alaska, Montana, and Idaho, a landmass close to 250,000 square kilometers, and is the King County hospital with a mission of providing quality health care to indigent, homeless, mentally ill, incarcerated, and growing refugee and immigrant populations. This former logger now has diabetes, uses a walker, and lives in an emergency shelter across the street with his health care coming from Harborview and the Indian Health Board. Later that day, I meet another older man with long salt and pepper hair tied back by a red bandana. In the arts and crafts room, he proudly shows me the intricately carved pipes he makes out of deer antlers he finds scattered around his reservation on the nearby Olympic Peninsula. He sells the pipes to tourists along the Seattle waterfront and in Pioneer Square near its numerous restaurants and bars. "These pipes are more popular now that weed is legal here," he tells me with a laugh. Seattle is my adopted hometown. Like many other people, I moved here from a much older, more problem-plagued city in search of greater opportunities and a better quality of life, and an escape from my past. The city where I was living in the early 1990s, Baltimore, had the highest murder rate in the country, along with one of the highest high school dropout rates. I am a nurse and researcher who works with homeless people. In Baltimore, the homeless teens I worked with told me things like, "Even if I live to be 100, which I won't, I'll always be sad." The burned and boarded-up row houses in the area where I worked and lived were often on dead-end streets. When my car broke down one evening after work, no towing company wanted to send a truck because it was too dangerous. A tow truck did eventually show up, but the driver brandished a shotgun. I was burned out on trying to nudge things there in a better direction. For me, at the time, that meant moving west to the much younger, more progressive, and much more hopeful city of Seattle. When this book is published in 2021, I will have lived and worked in Seattle for 27 years. It is the longest I have ever lived in one place, and Seattle has proven to be a good city for me personally and professionally. Of course, Seattle is not without its problems, including homelessness and its attendant ills. Seattle now has the 3rd highest number of homeless people in the